All righty. Wow. Welcome back to Find Your Voice, Rock Your Confidence. I am your host, Sloan Reale. And friends, wherever you are right now, if you are listening to this in your car, at home, all you ladies, moms, doing your laundry and dishes, getting those kids out to the wherever, if you're watching this on YouTube, I I have to preface and begin by saying today is an extra special day with an extra special guest. You're going to learn more about her, all about her in just a moment. Before we jump in, my quotables. I love my quotables. And I love this little book. I can't remember. Somebody gave me this as a gift. Oh, yes. You are amazing. Today's quote: go boldly and honestly through the world. Learn to love the fact that there is nobody else quite like you. And that is by Daniel Radcliffe.
The Harry Potter.
Harry Potter for days, Daniel Radcliffe. And I love that we started with this quote because today is all about you, the audience, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, you, the audience. Today, my intention for today's podcast actually is that you're going to take away some really critical pieces of learning how to love the fact that there is nobody else like you. There is only one of you. You are unique in every way. And I have an expert in this stuff who she's going to dial it in. And I'm so excited. This young lady, Stacey Estrella, I've known her all my life. She is my little sister. I might start crying. What we are doing here today, I just have to say, and you can laugh, Stacey, it's okay. You don't have to hold that laughing. uh, I have to preface this by saying that our life growing up together, lots of stuff. Every family's got their stuff. But this work that we are sharing with you today is the reason that she and I are as close as we are. I mean, in 1 year, I began this journey we're going to share with you. I began exactly 1 year ago today, last year. And she has coached me and she has held my hand and talked me off the ledge. I cannot tell you how many times. She is smarter than smart. The girl is brilliant. Let me tell you a little bit about her, my little sister. Stacey is a graduate of Stanford University and the Harvard Business School. Prior to founding Manifesto Studios in 2013, she was a principal at SY Partners, where she specialized in helping CEOs and their teams discover and articulate hard-to-tell high-stakes stories for their audiences. Say that 3 times really fast. Try it. I dare you. She was the CEO of Pogo Pet, a pet wellness and community site that was recognized by Forbes Best of the Web for 4 consecutive seasons, people. This is one of my most favorite highlights about my sister. She was one of 15 designer finalists on the 3rd season of Bravo TV's Project Runway. Today, Stacey is a soul-aligned life coach working with enlightened leaders and leadership teams. She uses the tools of human design, the gene keys, and the work of Katie Byron to help people
Byron Katie.
I'm sorry. She uses the tools of human design, the gene keys, and the work of Byron Katie to help people create and live their authentic, soul-aligned life and leadership code. She is the co-founder of tobeauthentic.co and author of The Quantum Way, a coaching methodology and platform for individuals, duos, and teams who want to lead with integrity, deepen their partnerships, or build more productive and empowered teams. She shares her observations and insights about these topics on her own weekly podcast, To Be Authentic with Stacey Estrella, and you can learn more about her services and offers at tobeauthentic.co. So first, to kick off, I feel like we're already neck deep into this conversation already. But Stacey, can you first explain and define for the audience what the heck is human design?
I love that. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show. I've been following you since you launched, and each week it just gets better and better. And I just feel so fortunate to be part of your message. And I love that opening quote because it really is about what makes each of us special and unique and why we are each here to fulfill some individual purpose. So, human design, the way to think about this, and it's a fairly new science, okay? Human design, the way I think of it, is the secret on steroids, all right? Which is all about the energy or law of attraction. What human design offers you is a personalized blueprint based on your birth data on how you're built and the operating system or instruction manual to unlock both your superpowers and navigate your kryptonite. So it basically tells you where your strengths are natively that you were brought into this world to express and where you might be vulnerable or have to be on the lookout for things like conditioning, shadow energy, areas where you're going to be feel less empowered, okay? And the thing that I like to talk about with human design is what makes it different from any other personality assessment tool out there is that it cannot be corrupted by the mind. So your design is your design for the entirety of your life. And you can either choose to get to know it and work with it, or you can choose to ignore it and run the risk of not living your best, fullest life or the highest expression of who you're here to be. All of these other tools, while they can be helpful, when they rely on surveys for your mind to answer one way or another, your mind is actually coming in and telling you what it wants you to believe about yourself. It's not necessarily who you truly are, which is why when people feel like they're doing all the right things in their life, but they're still unhappy, this is because the mind has convinced them out of fear, insecurity, what have you, the ego, to choose one thing when the other would be more appropriate for you. I'll pause there. I don't know if you have, am I losing you?
Yeah,
Am I,
no, it's just this is just triggering so many thoughts for me. For example, an article just came out um, that was shared with me by a CEO, and the article is about people that are operating at that level of business, and it's all about their suffering mental health. Like they've achieved and they've invested millions and they've built these huge organizations. And at one point, there was even a conversation with my husband this morning. There was a point in all of these people's lives where they were on fire. And I don't know how much age is related to all of this. I don't know how much the awakening is related to as we're getting older and we're looking back and going, damn, that was a lot of stress and it was a lot of work and it was a lot of sacrifice. And so basically, this article is saying there is a level where people are finally taking note at what this does to not just our mind, our physical body, our health, our what is the price? I think what the article is really highlighting is the price that we've been paying to to operate in these things that have been conditioned in us early on. You are a perfect example of that. You were always so smart. I remember growing up, for you, the audience, I was always out social, getting in trouble, and Stacey was tried and true. Man, she had her nose in the books all the time. She was like straight triple A student. You heard her bio, Harvard, Stanford, and trying to live according to that. And then realizing so much later, and you can hear her story. We have another podcast. I'll put that in the show notes, a previous podcast. But anyway, I digress on that. I'm so glad that you figured out what works for your design. And now you are truly living and operating. And the corporate thing, even though you did that and you were in that, it wasn't feeding your soul. It wasn't making you happy, right? You had the career, you had the money, but it's like there is something missing that is really important. I'm so grateful that you found it because we've kind of have found this together, and it is truly transformative. Like my life, our life, my life is so different even from 1 year ago, just from 12 months ago. How I'm operating on the planet personally, professionally, with my family, with my clients, I am not the same person. It is so exciting. So, yeah, there's that conflict, the brain, the mind versus our design.
Well, we're brought into this world to think our mind has the answer. That's how we're socialized. And that's the problem, is that our minds are great allies, but they don't actually know what's correct for us. And so what human design offers, and what happens when you get your chart, is you're going to see there are all these layers of human design and the gene keys and all of these different related sciences that are based on your birth data. There's the mandala, there's the zodiac, there's the four quarters, there's the 384 lines of the I Ching, there's the 64 gate activations, there's the planet coordinates. But the things that matter most, and the way I think about your human design chart is, it is an astrological chart, but one that is actionable and empowering. So if you've ever had your natal chart done in astrology, there are a lot of things that feel familiar, but there's not really an instruction manual to go along with it that allows you to make smart decisions. Okay. What you get from human design, from your human design chart, if you do nothing else but have a reading and learn what your definition is, and this has to do with the 9 energy centers. So unlike the chakras, which are 7 centers, there are 9 energy centers that each correspond to a different type of energy that is being processed or metabolized or expressed in the world. Okay. And when you get your human design chart based on all of the planet activations, you will see which of those centers are filled in with color, which means they're defined. This is where you have fixed, reliable energy and access to a certain way of showing up. This is what you bring into the world, okay? Where you are undefined, meaning the centers are clear. Where you are undefined is where you are here to grow wise, but it's also the areas where you are going to be most vulnerable to conditioning from other people's definition, okay? So the most important thing to take away from your human design chart is your auric energy type. Are you a projector? Are you a manifester? These are very, very different energies. It's the way that your energy is expressed in the world that's natural for you. It's also important for you to know how it affects others, how it feels to you, because how you use that energy in the world is how you meet resistance or dissolve it. Okay. Which way do you want to go through the world? Fighting, bumping into people, bumping into resistance, or flowing? That's fighting or flowing. And what you also get from that definition is you figure out what your decision making authority is, which is your embodied sense. It's your higher intelligence that knows what is correct for you. It's otherworldly. It truly is. And it's where you feel your authority in your body, not in your mind. And that's the game changer. That changes everything. Anyway, back to you.
Amazing. And that's what has changed for me in the last literal 12 months is understanding my auric type and my decision, how I make decisions. Can you really quick, can you just touch on the 5 different energy types? Just like a Reader's Digest version so the audience can get a better understanding of what the heck we're talking about.
Absolutely. And what I want to do is put that in the context of the throat center, okay?
Yes,
Which I
please.
love. Yes, please. Which I love because this is your specialty. And every time I think about your story, your mythology, because that's also what's in these charts, right? It's our mythology, our journey, why we're here. What I love about the throat center that you hear when you start to take courses and dive into this world of human design, all roads lead to the throat. Okay? The throat is the center of all manifestation. All right? Words and actions. And so what I like to think about in the context of your vocal coaching practice and what it is, how you serve your clients and how you're supporting them, for people to know how powerful their throat is and to be able to work with that in their design, will be a game changer for them. And so let me just talk through those different energy types, okay? So the first one, which I think will benefit, well, they will all benefit from vocal coaching. And by the way, this is not a plug. I didn't come in here to plug your business, but as I was preparing, I was kind of mind boggled of the connection between the throat as the center of manifestation and how it can help each one of these energy types. The first energy type is the manifester, and the manifestor's source of power, it is their voice. Okay, that is the source of their power in expressing a desire or a vision. That is where their power is. Now, if you're not comfortable with your energy as a manifester because it feels too big and overwhelming, or you've been shut down, conditioned to shut down and swallow your voice and make yourself small because others couldn't handle it, vocal coaching is the perfect way to open that up and start to live into that space, okay, into that power and reclaim it. The generators and manifesting generators, technically they are considered a single type. I know this is the doctrine from International Human Design School, but a lot of people consider them two separate types. And the way to really operate with them, it really helps to draw a distinction. Generators are the perfect students, okay? But their challenge is actually putting up boundaries. So generators have a source of energy when they're doing what they love, that lights them up. They have no problem focusing and going through all the steps and being productive and having something at the end to be proud of. Manifesting generators are a little twist on that. They're a hybrid of generator and manifestor energy. And manifesting generators are very spontaneous. Their challenge could be discipline and focus. So I share all these things, Sloan, also in this context because we've not had this conversation around vocal coaching. But it's
No.
like how interesting to know the different energy types and how to work with them in a vocal coaching context. So now let's talk about the projector. You are an ego projected projector, and we're going to get into your design in a minute because it's fascinating what you have done with your design and your life, right? How you're expressing the highest form of who you are and who you came into this world to be. Projectors are the guides. So projectors are this deep absorbing energy that works very well one-on-one. So again, Sloan, you're a projector. You're very good deeply coaching one-on-one with people who your aura is very penetrating in them, but it can also be very triggering if people don't want to be penetrated, if they don't want to have that piercing awareness entering them, right? So
Yes.
the projectors can really see very deeply into the other. And then finally, we have the reflectors who have no definition, okay? Every center is open. Sandra Bullock, by the way, is a reflector. So not that that's super helpful in terms of context, but what's interesting in terms of doing the vocal coaching, is they operate with a lunar cycle. So they have a definition, and based on the 28 or 29 day cycle of the moon, there are different activations that are predictable in that cycle that light up different parts of their chart. And so for them, they really need to see and understand who they are on any given day, right? Because one day they could be really primed for manifestor activity, or really primed for generator activity, or manifesting generator, or what have you.
Changes.
So it changes. Yeah. And then I wanted to just, before I turn it back to you, I wanted to talk a little bit about the context of these energy centers and how your energy flows with respect to your throat. Okay. Because this is so important. So when I think of I am what's called a manifesting generator, sacral manifesting generator. Sacral is my authority. I have a direct connection between my sacral power center, right, creative center, and my throat. So immediately when I have a desire or I'm pulled to something, I want to express it. And I have that twice in my chart. It moves very, very fast. My business partner is a splenic projector. She needs 2 gates or a channel to connect to a throat. She does not have a defined throat, like you, Sloan. Her throat is not defined. So she needs to rely on someone else's energy she can lean on that. to express through her throat. So when she's around me, she's much more empowered through my energy to express what she has to offer. And it's not like she's totally dependent and kind of just stuck there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
go
more,
ahead.
it's like a puzzle. This whole thing, as I
Yeah.
learned, it's like a puzzle. And it was, you helped me to realize. So I have 3 children. If you are new to the podcast and you're still getting to know who I am and what I'm about, my youngest is my only daughter. And I mean, I love all my kids. They're all amazing. They're creative. They're intelligent. They're all flying. They're doing amazing things already in the world. But this little girl from birth has just been this little ball. She's like, she literally is my mini me. Like, I enjoy being with her. Now, she makes me crazy sometimes too. She didn't get my clean gene. I don't know what that's about. I got the clean gene, so she doesn't have to have the clean gene. There's a great example right there. Right? She doesn't have to worry about the keeping things neat and tidy because mom's got that piece covered. But just energetically, and when you look at our 2 design charts, if you were to lay them down, almost completely. You've got her chart and stuff that's colored in is an empty spot. So her colored in parts, if you look at my chart, are not colored in, and vice versa. Where I'm colored in, she's open, and then these lines where my lines stop, her lines start. So it literally is a like a puzzle piece where we complete one another. And my kids don't know about any of this stuff yet. I've sent them their charts, and this is really cool, check it out, and they're not into it yet, but someday I hope that they will see the value in that. And I want to come back real quick to our energy. So growing up, a great example, right before I understood this is still so new, like I'm like a baby in this information, but I can't tell y'all how many times, man, growing up, well, first of all, growing up, I was told a lot. Sloan, you're too much. You need to dial it down. You're too loud. Be quiet. My report card, every report card. My sister gets these glaring A plus 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 excellent model student. There might have been a little resentment back there, but mine always said the same crap. Sloan talks too much. Well, okay, I'm a projector, but I don't know this yet. Out on the playground, anytime somebody got hurt, if there was an incident, I am on it. Like, I am the mother hen. I'm going to help Susan get up and get the blood off of her pants and walk her to the office. And I mean, dodgeball. I will never forget all the kids throwing those balls. Some kid goes down. I'm right in the middle. Next thing I hear, hey, Sloan. I look up, ball right in my face. So one last example. I was working for a retail company here in the area, helped open up a store, worked on a couple of different departments. I remember being called in for the first time. I was called into the human resources department. There was a conflict, and there was a woman, one of my colleagues, one of my peers. I, every single time I've tried to be helpful, this is across my entire life. I have done things, I have acted from a place, a pure place, I thought, of just wanting to be helpful. But often I've trying to be helpful, this is part of my design, without being invited, right? That being helpful without being invited has cost me money, it's cost me time, it's cost me relationships, it's cost me jobs, it's cost me housekeepers. I mean, every time I have done things out of alignment, out of alignment, jumped on, this is a good idea. I could be really helpful here. Anyway, coming back to the job thing, I remember I was called in because my being helpful was misunderstood as wanting to steal a sale, basically. And it got really bad. And it was, I won't go into all the details, but it was the first time I'd ever heard somebody say to me, my manager looked me right in the eye and said, Sloan, not everybody is going to like you. Sloan, not everybody is going to want or need or ask for you to be helpful. And even then, like, that went deep. And I was like, what do you mean? I, I'm a party in the box. Like, I'm your friend. What do you mean not everybody's going to like me? That was like so revealing. But not until this work it's all making sense. Like, I'm going back over my lifetime, almost 60 years. That's just unbelievable. I'm going back over my lifetime right now, and I am connecting the dots of how many times I made decisions and acted out of alignment, not in alignment with who I am and how I am wired and what it has cost me. So, anyway, come back to thank you for that on the energy types. Real quick, do you know the percentages of people on the planet? Like reflectors are like the smallest percentage of people on the planet, right? It's very small. Do you happen to
Yeah.
have those numbers or know what those numbers are?
So
Roughly,
just
just if you were to guess.
from memory, the generator bucket, which includes manifesting generators and generators, is about 70%.
Okay.
Yeah, 70%. And it's about split half and half. The projectors are about 20%, manifestors are 9, and reflectors are 1. I think that math adds up to 100, roughly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, approximately. And then
Yeah.
can you speak to ego projected projector? That I still don't completely understand that. What I do know, and I keep hearing when people hear people who know this work and they hear this about me, they're like, whoa, I've never met anybody like you, actually. Oh, you're the first person I get to work with that has this design. Can you speak to that just for a second for the listener?
Yeah, because I want to actually talk about a number of elements of your chart, if that's all right with you, because
Yes.
I feel like it would be really, I think it would be really helpful for people to know why it's so correct, right? Why it was inevitable for you to do the work that you're doing, right? Why you do this work, why it pulled you in, why you're drawn to it, and the benefit that you bring to others, okay, in a very unique way that no other vocal coach can bring. And I understand it even more in preparing for this session with you in the context that we were going to be talking about. Oh yeah, well, what does this have to do with the voice and vocal coaching, right?
Bring us back to the
Um,
whole title. What the heck is human design and what does it have to do with voice? We're finally
there you
there.
go. We did it. Really quickly, I want to respond to this thing that happened in the retail with you. It has to do with your profile lines. So this is another level again of human design, which is what's called sort of your costume in life and your profile lines. So you're a 5-3. So the 5 is someone that's recognized and this is the conscious energy. You recognize that you can actually help someone else. Okay. You can help them. And, but you're also a projector. So unless you're recognized in advance of having something, of your help being invited, right? Of being needed in this moment, people are going to respond the way that they responded. They're going to resist and reject, right? And these are some of the most empowering things to take away when you learn your design, because you start to understand the energetic dynamic, because all this is energy, right? Going back to the whole secret idea, it's all about energy, energetic frequency. And the
Absolutely.
other thing I want to point out on the 5 is what happens is others, when they are in your presence,
Yes.
project onto you. So if they are in a really good place, they're going to project on all that goodness. If they're in a bad place, they're going to be triggered by you, because it's just your presence and there's nothing you can do about it. So you just have to be aware and know that it's not you, it's them. I mean, if you're out of alignment, you might be contributing to it, right? So you have to always be watching that. But I
Sure.
just wanted to bring up just the power of even knowing that one little thing about profile lines, right, is super empowering, right? So let's talk about this whole ego projected projector, because I remember, okay, when I discovered this about you, I thought, oh my God, this is I mean, what a struggle it must have been. Like, I finally understood why you created, like, not created, why you always were getting in trouble,
Yeah. Chaos.
right?
Constant chaos. It was
Right.
hard.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of your activations, because it really is about in your energy centers. Here you are, a projector, and you have defined ego. And the reason why and this is what makes you so rare. It's less than 0.5% that has been tracked in terms of this ego projected projector. So extremely rare. And when you think about this defined ego, the ego is actually the will center, right? It's willpower, it's desire. It is, I can make promises, I can commit, I can follow through. Okay. Now, then you're a projector and a 5-3, right? I have the answer. I can rescue, right? I can solve this person's problem. Let me run in. You always have to be fighting that impulse.
Yeah,
And
the
that's what you're
urge.
recognizing, the urge. So it's like this oxymoron. Here you have all this power in your
Yeah.
body, and yet you're not allowed to unleash it until it's recognized. Now you can unleash it for yourself when you recognize what makes you happy, right? Going to the lake, right?
Yeah.
Doing your podcasts, right? But when it comes to engaging and interacting with others,
Yes.
you will waste your power if you're trying to support someone when they have not recognized your role in their life yet, right?
Recognize
So
also connected to being invited, recognizing and
exactly.
being asked.
So the reason why, so I'm glad you brought that up, because these words, I think some of the words can be very jargony in the world of human design. And the way to think about recognition and being invited is they say it's about the big decisions, but it's kind of this constant sense of like the correct invitations for you are the invitations that are unique to you. Okay. It's someone who doesn't just say we just need a vocal coach to show up tomorrow. It's we need a vocal coach that does these things that you do. Like that's where the correct invitation is, where the projector is uniquely recognized for their gifts because they're very gifted. And that's why they often get very frustrated. Their telltale sign is actually bitterness and resentment when people don't notice what they have to offer, because we live in a generator world of doing, a lot of busyness and a lot of doing, and this can make someone feel very bitter and resentful until they find their way, until they find their human design and start to use it correctly. And then they start to see this was the correct invitation, this was the correct invitation, this one, no wonder I was so unhappy there. So what the other thing I want to point out about your design, Sloan?
Game changer.
Totally. The defined will, this is extremely important, okay?
Listen up,
Only
everybody.
30 Thank you. Yes. Only 35% of humanity has defined ego. Okay? This is the source of self-worth, confidence, commitment, promises, willpower. Now, look at how we're conditioned in this world. Got to be confident, got to brag, got to be out there being big and showing everyone who I am, got to have my face everywhere. I mean, the way we're conditioned in this world is so not supportive for the 65% of us, like myself, who do not have defined will. Okay? When we are in the presence of someone with defined will, so this is where you can be really helpful to your clients, Sloan. When people are in your presence and they do not have defined will, they feel stronger and more supported because they're borrowing your will. When they leave session with you, though, they have to remember who they are, right? Because it could be a real so for example, I have a client who is a manifestor with defined will, okay? And I have to watch making promises to her or commitments when I'm in her presence, because I want to make her happy, because I also have undefined solar plexus. So again, the conditioning creeps in. I have to remind myself that are you really making this promise because your sacral is responding to this affirmatively, or are you stuck in your conditioning of wanting to make a promise because you're borrowing her will center? Do you see what I'm saying? How the energies work? So
It's
you're
the puzzle,
very supportive.
puzzle thing
It's
again.
the puzzle.
Putting the puzzle
It's
together.
the puzzle. And when I think about, sorry, I'll just finish this one thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
So much of your vocal work, to me, and I really hope this doesn't come across as diminishing at all, because I think it's the greatest use of it, is it's healing. It's healing work. It's supportive work. You have this unique, first of all, your sun sign, it's you were born at the right angle cross of the vessel of love. Okay. So you are here with your gate 10, which is all about self love. And this is what you're modeling for others. Okay.
Mhm.
And your gate 10, it's off of your G center. This is what people get to experience in your presence is
Yeah.
this is what self love looks like. This might actually be triggering for people who have undefined will, who have
Yes.
undefined self. Do you see what I'm saying? How it starts to work? It's that puzzle again, where people are conditioned and they don't know their design and they don't know how to work their energy. They actually could be put off by your confidence, right? Your love and your presence because it's just too much for them. But anyway, so I'll just leave it at that. There's just so many things in your
Oh, I
design
know,
that
and
lend.
I'm gonna have to bring you back. This is gonna be a two-part. So listening, viewing audience, I'm so glad. We're so glad that you are here. This is actually part one. I'm saying it now of two parts. We are gonna come back with more on this because it's so huge. It's just a huge thing. And what I want just to kind of bring this to a close, that me understanding how I'm wired, how I make decisions, how I affect other people. I'm really the clients that have come through that just this year, they say, yeah, 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 I want to do this. I'm so in, I'm going to do your 12-week thing. And then I don't hear from them again. And I go back and I'm understanding it had nothing to do with me. There either was a trigger or, and I love what you say, when they're with me, when we're together in that one-on-one or in groups. Oh my gosh, I had a group yesterday, almost 200 young women in an auditorium together. Me on the stage doing my thing and 200 girls I'm trying to get up and moving. Wow. It was like, it was just so in my dharma. It was amazing. Took a little extra effort to get everyone going, but we did it. But my point is, uh, I'm looking back and understanding. And the biggest thing for me, because we all want to be liked and loved, right? But the biggest thing for me is just really when it doesn't work out, it unless if I was, like you said, I was out of alignment, it really has nothing to do with me and how I affect people. It's and so much of it is unconscious. We aren't even aware of a lot of this stuff when it's going down. And what has helped me, so like literally just this year alone, in the last 9 months, it's so funny. We're almost on 10 months, the gestation of a human child. In 10 months, I feel like I have given birth to a lot of things. I've given birth to a new me. I've given birth to how I operate with myself and with others. Like I had another baby at almost freaking 60 years old. It's a I mean, the trajectory is so different because all of a sudden, what I do with my profession, my practice has gotten so much more fun. Like I've been doing this almost 25 years. I'm having more fun right now than I have ever had. I absolutely adore the clients that I am working with. Those of you who are listening, you know who I'm talking about. How I make decisions and move forward. I might what I say yes to, what I say no, not right now, not the right time, maybe later. It's just there's no I don't have to think and worry and stew. It's just like I make decisions from my heart, right? It's all about what does my heart say? Is it light and open and expansive, or am I constricting? And we've heard plenty about decisions I've made out of alignment that I'm still paying a price for, but we won't go there. So Stacey, this has been absolutely amazing. We did not even get to podcasting stuff. Next episode that we do together, part two, is going to be a podcast for podcasters specific.
I
Please
love
tell
it.
us if people want to learn more, if they want to know about human design, if they want to work with you, where can people find you? What do you have for the audience today? What is
Oh, thank you so much.
your gift?
Yeah, thank you, Sloan. Yeah, people can find me at tobeauthentic.co, C-O, okay? And a really great way to start is to get a superpowers and kryptonite reading, and it will give you the 5 dimensions that you need to know that will empower you to start living your design and start to track changes in your life, in your relationships. All we can do, we cannot change anyone else, right? We can only change ourselves. And when we
Correct.
change ourselves through this work, it's amazing how effortlessly and seamlessly the rest of the world starts to work with you. It's just beautiful.
So,
And
so spot on. It's life changing.
yeah,
It's transformative. So people can go pick up your stuff, and I will put a lot of stuff that we've mentioned here today, you, the audience, I'm going to put some things in the show notes. I'll have hashtags. I'll have links to Stacey's stuff for you. And man, I'm just so grateful for you, the audience. Thank you. Keep tuning in, keep coming back. Amazing stuff on the horizon. Remember to inhale confidence all together. Let's do it together. Big breath in. And let's exhale and let go of any doubt. And if you're a singer, my other saying, keep calm, sing a song. Until next time.